Hey, my name's Rob and I'm a photographer from Sydney, Australia. I've been very lucky to get my hands on the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. This video is not sponsored by Samsung, however I do work quite closely with them here in Australia, and I'm very excited to sort of have a look at this phone and really test out some of the new features that sort of pop into my mind. Obviously, as someone who's primarily focused on photography and video, the cameras is something I really want to test out. But also I saw that there was some new features announced regarding the Pro Video mode and external microphones. And as someone who likes to record videos, that also is something very interesting for me to look at. This video has been created to answer some of the questions that I had about the phone when I sort of said to myself, when I first got my hands on it, what I would look at. If you're looking at a sort of really in-depth review, I'll put a link in the description below to my friend Demis's channel. He's got a great video where he runs through all the different camera modes. It's very good video, and it'll explain more about the technical details if you want that. So watch that after this video, and hopefully that'll satisfy some of those questions. In case you're curious what I currently use as my daily driver, I actually carry around two phones. I'm very lucky that I can do that. I use the Note 10 Plus 5G as my main phone, and I have the S20 Ultra 5G as my sort of camera phone. The reason for that is I'm lucky that I can have the choice of both. If I had to just choose one, I'd probably go for the one with the better camera. But I do really enjoy the S Pen. And so I guess what I'm looking for in the Note 20, as I sort of try it out, is can it be the best of both worlds for me and allow me to just have one phone? Because I don't like carrying around two phones. I just have been. If you are curious, yes, these are the cases I use. I don't like having reflective surfaces on my phone. When I'm taking a photo and there's a light coming in reflecting off onto the subject, I don't like them to be mirrored. So I'm always rocking a case. And that means that I'm also protecting the camera a lot of the time too. It doesn't stick out. So with the Note 20 Ultra, one of the first things you will notice is that there is a camera bump there. But when you put the cases on, usually those cases flatten out and even the surface. And if you're doing photography, I do recommend getting something with a non-reflective surface so you don't reflect light onto the thing you're taking a photo of. The weather hasn't been that great here in Sydney, so I just crossed my fingers and took the phone to Bradley's Head, which is a favourite place of mine to take photos. Before I did photography full time and even owned a camera, I would take my phone here to take as many photos of sunsets as I could. I just really enjoyed it as a location. I loved the waves that the ferries would make on the shoreline, and I never got bored of going there, so why not go back to a familiar location to play with this new phone? So after taking a few photos of the city with the zoom, I thought I'd better set up and take some videos, just me talking to the camera using the different microphones. The microphones that we need to go through are the Omni Microphone, the front, the rear, the USB microphone, and the Bluetooth. So this is me using the normal camera in selfie mode, and this is what the audio sounds like. There's a little bit of noise in the background, not very much, the waves are quite quiet, but this is what it would sound like if you're doing a video selfie. For the other demonstration, let me grab my tripod, set up, and I'll go through all the different microphones that we have. As you can see, to use the USB microphone, I've got this USB-C to 3.5mm audio jack connector, and I will leave in the description below links to those things so you can go and find them for yourself. And if you're not sure which one to get, drop a comment and let me know what gear you have, and I can probably give you some advice on which connector to get. Okay, so this is the Omni Microphone, and I'm about, I'd say, a meter away from the camera, talking pretty loudly. No boats going past and a few waves. Let me go further away. This is me talking further away. Obviously, it's going to be very difficult to hear what I'm saying without me yelling. To come behind the camera so you can see. So it shouldn't matter where I am around the camera. It's Omni Microphones, and the camera will use all of its wizardry to hopefully even out the audio. I can do it. So this is the front microphone. So this should be capturing the audio quite loud from me behind the camera, as if I'm referring to something, pointing at something. If I go in front of the camera, obviously it's going to be quieter because the microphone is listening to the back. Now I'm going to switch it up to the rear. Now the microphone should be quite quiet from me behind and be recording what's in front of it. This would be more useful if you're recording someone else and don't want to accidentally get the noise behind or the... This is probably going to be the same volume as Omni. This is the rear microphone audio check. I'm speaking very loudly. Now this is the lav mic. I should be able to just talk with a normal speaking voice, and no matter how far away I go from the actual camera, the audio levels should be the same. So now I can just have a full body shot in talking with a normal voice, and hopefully you can hear me. I think this is a really powerful feature, and this is a very common tool for videographers to have, is a a lav mic, and being able to record yourself in a situation like this and have the audio in the actual video file as opposed to using an external recorder is super powerful. So now we're actually going to give a go of the the boom mic. So this is the R0de Mic Pro. I'm about 1.5 meters away from the camera. It's obviously going to be a good thing to check to compare it against both the lav and also the built-in microphone, just as a control. I will go further away, but it's not designed for that. And this is the same thing, me talking pretty loud. So I'm currently got the earbuds in. This is not the new ones, or the old ones. I think the Galaxy Buds Plus, maybe. And the audio quality, I'm assuming, is going to be what you expect of a phone call. But the fact that you can use them to record audio is very useful, and hopefully they're working and you can hear me out here. So this is the AKG Headphones, and I believe this is meant more for phone calls, not for recording video as a microphone. But again, because it is Bluetooth, you should go to about here. Bluetooth in general has about a 10-meter range, I believe. So I'll just keep going out, and it probably will cut out at some point. But this is still working, hopefully. I haven't heard any tones to say that it's not working. So these trees are native to the Sydney Harbour shoreline. They're very rare and only found in the southern hemisphere, straight under the southern stars. So if you want to film yourself doing yoga or some exercise and being far away from the camera, having an external microphone could be super useful because you don't have to record the audio separately. And then I got some 8K video of the ferries going past too. So I'll just sort of zoom in on these digitally in post-production just to see what they're like. But I just wanted to have the video files here so I can have a play with them later on. There was obviously some other things I wanted to play with when I was there, the slow-mo modes, the super slow mode, the slow-mo. Also just to take a photo, take some videos using the standard video modes. All right, so let's quickly talk about the S Pen. One of the reasons that I still carry around the Note 10 Plus with me is because I really do find myself using the pen quite a bit. And here is basically a list of the reasons that I currently use the S Pen. From the lock screen, when you do open up, it opens up basically just a notepad where you can just draw on the screen directly. And I might draw what I'm describing to someone, or I might draw a room where I'm trying to put furniture in, or my van when I'm trying to figure out how I want to lay out the back of my van. Before I go on shoots, sometimes I'll just sketch out little shot lists with diagrams and little things saying I would like the sun to be there, and just trying to visually get myself thinking as I go. And I use that all the time. I find that that's something that I want to use all the time, and having that ability to do it on the phone is something that I miss when I haven't got the pen. Also, another feature I use on the pen all the time is taking screenshots of things on your phone where you can't always extract text out. So some web pages or pictures, there might be a street sign or something where there's text on it and you just want to copy paste that. The other thing that I use the S Pen for all the time when I am taking photos is to use it as a remote trigger, whether I'm just doing it to press the button to not bump the camera, or I'm taking photos of myself. I'll put the phone on a tripod and I'll walk away from the camera and use the pen to take a photo. With the new air gestures, you have to be careful. If you hold the button and move the pen, it might think you're doing a gesture. And if you double tap it, it might switch the modes of the camera. So you can go into the settings there, I noticed, and turn some of those things off to just make sure that when you are pressing the button, it is taking a photo and not switching to selfie mode and taking a photo of nothing. So the other reason that I really enjoy the pen is kind of, I guess you could say, three main reasons for just operating the phone itself. And thinking about when I pop that pen out, if I've been walking in the rain and there's a water droplet on the phone, rather than trying to wipe the screen down and the finger's not working, you just pop the pen out and it will still work, even if there's like a water droplet on the screen. I will find myself wanting to use the pen just so I don't block the screen with my hand. I've got big hands, big fingers, and just being able to use the pen and navigate, whether it's scrolling up and down or editing photos in Lightroom, the sliders. All these different reasons, I find myself just using the pen quite a bit as an extension of my hand, and it's such a natural thing to do. You don't even notice it sometimes that you're doing it because it just feels right. So I know that these things have been updated, the responsiveness of the pen and also the adaptive refresh rate of the screen. This phone feels amazing to use. So if someone who's already uses the pen, that's a great thing for me. It means whatever experience I had before is better. So one of the things that's really important to me doing photography is obviously the different zoom levels. I find myself wanting to use the wide a lot, the main camera less so, and then obviously the zoom to get that sort of compression or subject isolation. And something that I have to play with a little bit more is I did notice that when I zoomed in out a little bit, it jumped between the different cameras. So obviously we've got the 12 megapixel wide camera, the 12 megapixel zoom camera, and then the 108 megapixel main camera, which can downsample to 12 megapixels. And that downsampling gives you great low light performance and amazing quality. But it also then uses some of that digital zoom from all the different cameras to get that sort of zoom range all the way out. I will need more time to test it out, so if you do want to see a comparison between the two phones, let me know. If you want me to do a shootout video, I'm happy to do that as well. So far for me, if you wanted my summary, I love the pen in the Note 10. I love the camera in the Galaxy S20 Ultra. I think that this might become my new phone because it seems to have the best of both worlds as far as the parts of the camera and the phone that I use. The pen and the quality seems to be there, but I will have to test it out more. I believe Samsung will be sending one to me to try out in the near future. So again, if you're interested in these sorts of videos, you want to see some detailed shootouts, if you want tips and tricks for shooting on mobile phones and photography tips like that, let me know here in the comments below. Go over to my Instagram and have a look there. I love taking photos on these phones. I love editing them, and I like sharing this information with other people. So if you've got that same passion as I do for the technology and photography, let me know. So the other question would be, should you buy this phone? And I guess the way to answer that question is maybe if you're similar to me. If you're someone who's going through the Note series of phones, I think it's a logical upgrade. I think it's something that you wouldn't regret. If you're coming from a phone that hasn't got a wide and a zoom lens, it's a no-brainer. You should definitely have those two things, especially if you're interested in photography. If you've already got the S20 Ultra and you're not really a fan of the pen, or you don't feel like you're going to use it very often, then this is still probably the best phone for you. This is a very subjective question. It's something that I struggle with quite a lot. And I guess I'm very grateful for having the ability to test all of these phones and try them all out, because I would find it very difficult to choose. If I had to choose one right now, it probably would be the Note 20 Ultra, just because there's the two things that I really enjoy is the optical zoom at 12 megapixels is fine for me, and the low light performance of the 108 megapixel sensor. I still get those two benefits, and I still get a great 12 megapixel wide photo as well. So I think that for me would be enough to use this. Then I get the pen and all of the benefits that it has too. So I think for me, and the video microphone. So I don't know if that's going to be a software update to the other phones as well, but for the moment, those are all very attractive options. Cool little additions that I noticed was in the Pro video mode and the Pro photo mode, there's now a reset button. Something that used to be quite frustrating before when you were using the Pro mode was you'd have to go back and turn each setting back to its default setting when you wanted to reset where you were. Now you can just swipe up and there's a little reset icon there which you can tap to reset those modes back to their defaults, which is super handy. So as someone who uses these phones quite a bit, I could talk all day about the different camera modes, the different user interface parts, the different elements, the things I love, the things that I hate, but I'll leave that there for now. Just know that if you've been using any of the previous Samsung phones, they're very familiar interface, and they've just added a new mode for the Pro Video, which is great. And the new extras 2 settings to reset in the Pro mode are amazing as well. With the addition of the new audio inputs for the Pro Video mode, it seems in my first little quick testing that's only available in the Pro Video mode. I didn't see the option to actually use the Bluetooth or the microphone inputs in the other default camera modes. And also when I was shooting in the Pro mode, it seems that the RAW photo mode is also still limited just to the main camera and not to the different zoom levels. Same for the video, it seems to be just using the main camera and not the wide angle or the telephoto when you're doing the Pro Video mode. Who knows in the future, maybe there'll be a software update to allow you to shoot RAW across all cameras and use the audio inputs across all the cameras as well. That'd be awesome. So when the announcement happened, I saw this color, and I'm normally a black color. I like to get the black phones. This looks incredible. I must admit, taking a photo of it is amazing. And because it's got this sort of shiny surface, it catches the light really well and looks really, really good in photos. But I probably will be getting the black one if I get a choice. So the other thing that I did notice about the Note 20 Ultra is it also does have the expandable storage, and that's something also I use quite a bit too. I might need to make another video about this, but the ability to be able to just plug the phone into the computer and use the software that I have to copy all the files over is something I use all of the time. Syncing it up to the photos up to the cloud, because I take so many, the way that I organize them and upload them, I really need the phones to fit into my workflow like a lot of the cameras that I have. And so the file management part of it, and the plugging in the USB-C and the SD card storage and other sort of things might seem like nice to have, but for me, they're actually really important. I tried to make a video about the things that were sort of top of mind for me when the phone was first announced. Obviously, I have the phone for a very limited time, so if there are things you would like me to look at, features you want me to test out, settings you want me to dive into, please let me know. And I'll try and get that information to you either in another video or reply to the comments below. Thank you very much for Samsung for sending me the phone to try out, to give you my first impressions. And if you're interested in comparison videos, shot tests, all those sorts of things, subscribe, comment below so I know what to make in the future. It's a pretty crazy journey I've been on since I quit my job, so thank you for all the support so far. And if you're interested in joining this crazy ride, I'll see you in the next video.